current size of the state park and what are the boundaries?
So Resaca is 1,200 acres of state-owned property flanked by 200 acres of U.S. Fish and Wildlife. So for the wildlife that live in the park, it's 1,400 acres, but the public only has access to 1,200 of it. We're a big rectangle. We make one even shape, not every park. Some parks are shaped like, when you're practicing your tortillas and they're all a mess. That's what some parks look like.
What are some of the key features of the Resaca de las Palmas, such as natural resources, unique landscapes, and cultural heritage sites?
So for me, my favorite thing is our old growth ebony and aqua woodlands. So you can go through sections of the park, the ebony trail that you just hiked. It feels like reverent, like a cathedral, like you're walking through some of the rarest habitat left in the state of Texas, and we're lucky enough to steward it.
Wow, that's great. How does the state park manage and protect its natural resources, including the wildlife, plants, and waterways?
So something that we always have to keep our eyes pretty open for are invasive species. So everything wants to live in the Rio Grande Valley. It's really, really nice here. The temperatures, the humidity, all of that is super supportive for a lot of non-native plant species. If we don't get in front of some of those non-native plant species like castor bean, Brazilian pepper, some of the cane and reed grasses, we would just be inundated. And those plants absorb resources that we need for our native species, and they don't provide quite the right habitat. If I had a magic wand, I would get rid of all of the non-native grasses in the lower Rio Grande Valley. If I could magically do that, it would change the landscape.
That's like the sugar cane.
So sugarcane can actually be decently managed, but like guinea grass and KR blue stem, they're incredibly hardy, really strong grasses. They're hard to get out. Their seeds last a long time in the soil in the seed bank, and they're like a forever plant kind of at this point.
Wow. Well, at this stage of the interview, I'd like to go into environmental sustainability, but
Sure.
let's go check out some sites in your park.
Sure, we'll go outside.
Okay, I'm continuing my interview with Kelly Mackowski. We're here at the Resaca de las Palmas State Park. And so I wanted to talk a little bit more about environmental sustainability. So what kind of environmental sustainability strategies does this park have in place?
So again, we fall back on that invasive species management. The better we can manage the invasive species in the park, the better the habitat, the more sustainable we are in the long run. An issue that deeply impacts us, that is so much harder for us to positively impact, is how dry we are. So for us to have water in the park, we purchase it and we pump it in. But if there's no water in Falcon Lake at Falcon Dam, then there's no water for the lower Rio Grande Valley. So between invasive species management and then managing our water resources, that's our line to try to maintain for our sustainability.
Is there like a main drain that y'all, the county releases water to?
Yeah, so it's a system of gates and then weirs. So the weir controls where the water is going to be in the level, and the gates open and close to let the water in or out.
Wow. How does this state park promote sustainability tourism and educate visitors about the importance of conservation?
So a lot of it's park rangers. So a lot of it is public programs where we're talking and we're educating. We have some interpretive signage that talks about protecting our wild spaces. We've installed water bottle refilling stations to encourage folks to kind of wean themselves off plastic. But it's a never-ending quest. Our goal is that when folks leave, they feel invigorated. So often things are like heavy and sad, but every person in the valley could do something to combat habitat fragmentation and loss. There are lots of native plants that grow well on your porch in a pot. You could plant one native tree at home if you have a yard large enough to support a tree, and you might be the difference between seeing that beautiful butterfly or not, or seeing a groove-billed ani in your yard or not, by creating the habitat they need to survive. All we plant are beautiful ornamental flowers that support no native pollinators, so we're not going to have our pollinator friends.
So you touched on this question. What challenges does the state park face in terms of environmental sustainability? How is it addressing these challenges? So
we get hotter and drier every year, and the rains have just become a little less consistent. September used to be our wettest month of the year. You'd be like, oh, September, we're going to get our rains. Last 2 Septembers, we've gotten very little. We got, like half an inch when normally we would expect 2 or maybe more than that in September. And we have no control. I cannot make it rain. I cannot encourage the clouds to rain inside the park instead of outside of the park. So that has been a huge hazard. And again, as we get hotter, that makes it even more attractive for more and more of those non-native species. And then we tend to use mechanical removal. So that means physically removing them from the earth. So already we're hot in the summer. So maybe in summers past it'd be 100, but now it's 106. But we still have to go out there and do the work. So it's an impact on a person, on our human bodies, and on the landscape.
You all get a premium rate on the water. Y'all purchase the water from the county? Where do y'all purchase the water?
From our local irrigation district, Valley Mud. They're a great community partner. They've worked so diligently with us. They've 100% helped us try to solve how we can get water into the park and how to best manage it once it's here.
How does the state park work with local communities to ensure they benefit from conservation efforts and are involved in the decision-making process?
So the biggest benefit to the community, I think, are free field trips. Like, man, we get these kids in and we try our best to inform them, and we try our best to let them see what's so special about their backyard. And I tell kids all of the time, I'm like, I've had people from as far away as like New Zealand that came all the way here to Brownsville, Texas, to this park to see birds that you have at your house. I'm like, really? The valley is a magical place. It's one of the most ecologically diverse places we have on the planet. So helping people realize that is an important part of our job, of the goal of being a park.
What is the future of this organization? Where will this organization be in 5 years?
So in 5 years, we'll be 105. We'll have opened, ideally, if everything goes right and there's no major natural disaster, 2 more state parks. We'll have even more sites for the citizens of Texas and beyond to come and enjoy. I think the future is bright and strong.
Finally, what advice would you give to visitors to the state park to ensure that they minimize their impact on the environment while enjoying their experience?
We would like them to come well prepared. So that means wearing a comfortable shoe, being hydrated, being aware of how your body feels. If the heat is becoming too much, making a good choice to turn around and come back before you become overcome by the heat. Heat stress is our biggest concern for injuries for folks. We're pretty flat, there's no cliff to fall off of, there's no alligator in the bushes, but the sun is there all of the time, and sometimes it gets people.
A little off topic, so I see the olive tree here. Is this native to?
It is. So these are Mexican olives. They are not like the olives that you get in Italy that you press to make olive oil. They're a really important resource that's related to water. So this tree is going to process water from its roots, but it might also photorespirate, and that gets bound up in the fruit. So say it's really hot and there's no water to drink. A lot of animals can get it metabolically through what they're eating. People should not eat too many. So like as a medicinal medicine, if you are maybe constipated, you might eat one of those, but if you're not and you eat too many, you get the other problem. You would get the other one, the one that...
Can you dry them and use them for useful purposes? Or?
I haven't done any reading about drying. I've only read when they're like moist and juicy, people eating them, but I imagine you probably could go through that process to dry and powder them.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. Happy to. Yeah.
Thank you, guys. This was a great interview here with Kelly Mackowski at the Resaca State Park. Please come by. What are some of your hours?
So we are open with full visitor services Tuesday through Sunday. That means the visitor center is open. You can talk to a friendly park ranger. But the park grounds themselves are open from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day of the week with a paid entry fee of $4 per person. If you are a child 12 years old and younger, you're free.
Okay, well, we're going to go check out the other side of the park where we have some of the water in the Resacas. So, catch y'all later. Thank you.
Thanks.